Hey y'all, welcome back to Let's Talk About It with Courtney Carroll. That's me, Courtney Carroll, your podcast host. You're also your local therapist in Washington and North Carolina State, your connection coach across the country, if not the world. Welcome back. I am a little late this week. Today's Friday. It's been a week. My daughter is sick with strep throat. She started getting sick on Monday after having an amazing weekend with her dad, which was awesome. She had the best time ever. And came home with some cold symptoms, like kids and germs, y'all. We so unpreventative if we let them touch or talk or go anywhere. But Wednesday night turned into, I guess, like Thursday morning, like 3 a.m. My daughter broke out in a fever. And so we did the urgent care, and then also not realizing at the same time I got the same symptoms starting probably on Wednesday. I noticed my throat was bothering me. Took her to urgent care yesterday, and lo and behold, she has strep throat. And the doctor calls me to confirm the diagnosis because she was amazing. Gosh, I can't say enough about Mary Bridge Urgent Care in Puyallup, Washington. They're awesome. They are so kid friendly, and I just love them. They take such great care of my girl. But anyway, she calls and she goes, "And Mom, you mentioned you had a sore throat," which I was in utter denial. I was like, it must be allergies. Fast forward, after nap time, we go back to urgent care, but adult urgent care, and I have strep throat too. And I'm thinking last night, there's no way I'm recording a podcast today. But my daughter is currently down for nap. I was able to take a client, and I'm like, I'm going to give it a try. If she breaks in, she breaks in. She will not most likely ever be on this podcast. But I will just have to pause, or I will have to restart recording, or I'll skip this week, because that's being a parent. And when I was thinking this morning on if I had time to talk today, what would I want to talk about? And oh gosh, let's rewind. If this is your first time, welcome. There is no scripts. There's no teleprompter behind this. This is just me talking. And I say this every time. So for those regular viewers, I'm sorry, but not sorry. I have to explain it. I treat these just like a session, and I don't go in with a planning session as a therapist. And sometimes I have an idea of what we're going to talk about depending on the session before, or I intuitively get ideas in my head. And today I actually was thinking how hard it is to be a single parent. And this is by no means woe is me. It is the privilege of my lifetime to be Hazel's mom. I immediately could cry about it. You see that. It is the privilege of my fucking life to be this girl's mom. I count myself to be the luckiest, if not most honored person to be that little girl's mom. She is incredible. She's loving, charismatic, funny, brutally honest, brave little girl. And she's so freaking kind. And if she gets any of that from me, which I'm sure she does, I love that. Gosh, she's amazing. So when I go into being a single mom, I go into, yes, what a privilege. Also, I'm tired. And thankfully, the sickness came in after having some reprieve, what a strong word. Having some joint time with her dad. She has the best time with him, and they had a blast. And when they're together, it's such an incredible experience, because she's so brave like him and adventurous like him, and those are the beautiful qualities I see in her that are from him for sure. And so I had a little bit of a break last weekend, which honestly, it was not the best break. It was more of I got to catch up on chores and house stuff and all the things that I kind of get behind as a private practice owner, and again, a single parent, and got some of that. And I got to have some time with my friends, and then I I kind of had to sit in some hard things last week too, just because I am trying to figure out the future for my daughter and myself. But today, as I was trying to recover, because again, we're both sick, it's hard to do it alone. I have a really great friend, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. Morgan is like my second co-parent, and she just not DoorDash, she dropped off some cinnamon rolls and hot chocolate that we're gonna treat ourselves after a nap. And I do have a really good like friendship community and some family members that really try to show up for us. But going back to being that single parent, and if that's you, whether you're a dad, there's a ton of single dads out there that had primary custody. And I'm speaking to primary parents mostly, but also those parents that shared either 50-50 or joint even. You're going to probably hear more of the voices of primary. I have my daughter about 80 to 90% of a year. And again, as I started this, like, what a privilege. And also, it's hard work. I am a single income. Yes, her dad pays child support. And you know what? I don't like when people are like, well, at least he pays child support. Every person should pay child support if they don't have 50-50 or full custody of their child. So, of course, I am beyond grateful. He is a good dad that pays child care. Or child support, sorry. Not child care, child support. So I don't want that to ever come across like he's not a supportive financial person in her life for sure, because he very much is. But going back into like it mostly being on me. Like, even if she's sick, like, I'm the one that has to take her to the doctors. I'm the one that I'm a therapist, as you all know. I own my private practice. I'm the one canceling my clients. I'm the one rescheduling my days, and I don't have PTO. And especially when you have a diagnosis like strep throat or something contagious, you can't just bring in a babysitter. Like, my house is going to be scrubbed tomorrow, most likely, because we're going to finally be out of that contagious aspect. But it is hard work. And, you know, as I was like kind of leaning into it this morning on, hey, if I record this, let's talk about that. Of course, let's talk about how hard it is, but also how joyous it is. Because there is always the yin-yang balance of it. And honestly, I'd probably say 90% is pretty amazing. I love that girl. Like, I don't mind pick up, drop off. I would prefer it was me that took her to the doctors. Like, I've been that since the day she was in my tummy, to the day she was born out of my body. Like I always want to be there. I hate missing any of that. So there's that 10%, maybe 15% on a bad day. Because again, I'm sick, she's sick. Like, and regardless, I'm taking care of her. It doesn't really matter that I have strep throat. I have strep throat while my daughter's been down for a nap. I've taken a client. I'm recording my podcasts. I'm about to go clean. And when she's up, because her auntie dropped her off treats, I will be making cinnamon rolls and playing with her this afternoon if she's up for it. But what I was wondering and kind of thinking about how crazy it is, like, I got to this place. And not just because I'm divorced or because of the circumstances of like my broken engagement this last year and like where I'm at. This is the first time probably in my life, like, no, adult life. I think there's always so much uncertainty when you're a kid. In my adult life where I don't exactly know what the year in front of me looks like. I have no idea. I know the basis. I know that my daughter will start kindergarten. I know ideally where she'll go to school. I know the next couple months I have to move and figure out those dynamics. And I know like summer stuff with scheduling and getting my daughter ready for her first summer without immediate childcare. But I don't really know what the year looks like, and that's kind of wild. And as I was getting ready, I grabbed this sweater, and I've been thinking about it. I haven't worn it since probably about 6 months ago. And I put it on, and I love the show Gilmore Girls. You can see it here. We got Luke's Diner flower, the daisy, sorry. Luke's Donuts, coffee, there's books, and down here is a gazebo, the swan, all the things. And then my client pointed out, and I put this on after, I changed before I started my session, and yes, I'm cozy. I wore a comfy sweater to my session because I'm sick. And then I had made my coffee before I even changed, right? And I have, so funny, I have a coffee cup that my beautiful sister Suzanne got me. And it says, I need coffee in an IV. It's a Gilmore Girls cup. And I'm not even paying attention. I poured this cup and then I restarted the Keurig again because this is my second cup of coffee. Probably won't be my last. So I brought this up. And again, I had one client, and this client I've been seeing for a while. She's a beautiful woman. She's got a couple girls. And client goes, oh girl, you're all Gilmore Girled out, as I'm like drinking in session, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am. How funny is it? And and that's like validation from the universe. You're talking about being a single mom today, or a single parent today, single mom today. I mean, I can't speak for a guy. I've never been a dad. And I was like, how funny is it that I didn't even plan on wearing this with intention. I actually haven't worn it in a long time just because when I first got it, it was a little itchy, and now I'm like, oh, it's gonna be itchy, I'm gonna probably take it right off. No, it's so cozy, it's so warm. My best friend Morgan got this for me. I'm talking about her a lot today too, apparently. She's my Suki, apparently, if you know Suki from Gilmore Girls. But anyway, it's so funny that the universe gives us signs throughout our lives. Or like, if you have ever read the book, it's called The Awakened Brain. I'm sure I've talked about it before. It's my favorite book. Dr. Lisa Miller is the writer, and she talks about in the book how we get torches in our life, like moments or light bulb moments in our life to give us clues on what's going to happen or lead us into the right direction. Sorry, I have dogs in here because I'm trying to keep them away from my daughter. And so if I'm like snapping, you know what I'm snapping at. I know this show like every word, every scene, like the back of my hand. Lorelai and Rory Gilmore own a chunk of my heart. I've been watching it since I was a little girl. I watched it live every week. Everyone that knows me knows how much I love the show. Hence the shirt. Hence these meaningful gifts. I have a beautiful blanket. My sister Suzanne's a great gift giver, and she always gives me something Gilmore Girls. And gosh, I love it. And everyone's like, that's kind of when we were younger, like watching a single mom raise a kid, but I loved it so much. In fact, true story, Hazel was almost named Lorelai. My ex-husband just knew he didn't even stand a chance. I've been wanting that when we were parent planning, or like Hazel was a beautiful surprise for us in our life, but when we knew it was going to be a girl, he assumed it would be that, because I think I've said that 1,000 times. I really love the name Rory, but unfortunately we have some friends named Rory, and I was like, now it kind of reminds me of him, and it's just not the same. And I thought about doing the thing where you name her Lorelai and her name's Rory, just like Lorelai does, and I was like, no. And finally I surrendered it, and everyone's like, thank goodness. Courtney's too obsessed. I'm gonna name her daughter Lorelai, and of course settled on the beautiful name Hazel, and I have no regrets at all. But going back, why I love this show, that light bulb moment, that torch that Dr. Lisa Miller talks about, is it was such a freaking clue on what my life was gonna be. Such a clue. I watched Lorelai raise her daughter almost single-handedly, and got to witness how brave and strong and beautiful Rory grew up. And I just loved their relationship, and without even realizing it until literally today, epiphany, I was like, oh my gosh, I have the relationship like Lorelai and Rory with my daughter. How cool is that? My favorite show. And I can only hope to have that, by the way, even more of it, because if you're an avid show watcher, you know how the relationship grows and evolves throughout as Rory gets older. And when I lean into how hard it is to be as a parent, I can immediately go into that show and being like, but how fun was it? I had the best time with my kid. It is the hardest. I remember watching Lorelai break down crying and having moments and wishing she had a partner. And there are days I wish I had a freaking partner. There are days that I crave that more than anything. Of like days like today where I have strep throat and I'm sick and I'm like having to pay out of pocket to go to the doctors and all these things, and like, and again, all the financial things are on me. It would be such a lovely thing to have someone that can show up in that. And I don't have that outside of a couple good friends. And as much as I'm grateful for them, it's not the same thing, as everyone knows. But I just, today, as I connected the dots and was thinking about the show and thinking about talking to you guys, is how cool it is that I know what my future will be with my daughter just by watching that show. Like, I know right now we are in a hard season. Right now I'm navigating how to plan a year ahead to do things on my own, and meanwhile, like, loving it at the same time, even though it's hard. Even though it's the hardest thing I've ever done, was figuring out everything on my own and not really having a partner, strong co-parent relationship to do that with someone else. And some days it's like, man, why can't I have that? Or why can't this be different? Or if only we could do this together, or that together, and now I'm like sitting here talking to you guys and thinking it was all meant to be. It was always supposed to be me and Hazel. It was always supposed to be this way. I've had to do some hard things in my life with Hazel to have her highest and best interests met, which includes getting divorced, leaving a relationship that was not something I wanted to raise her around, and even ending an engagement last April with someone I loved dearly, because he was not good enough to be around my kid. Even though we moved across the country, and moving across the country, I came home. And right now, I've told y'all I've been wanting to go back to North Carolina and thinking that's best. It's not in the best, I played it out with a few scenarios there. And as much as I wish I could go back there at this moment, I think right now where Hazel and I are at, we were meant to be in Washington. And making that call, missing my friends and family there, knowing like what's best for Hazel is what's best for me. And that was hard to do because I selfishly just wanted to like go. And then when you're a parent, and this is dads, moms, everything, you have to think about, you kind of lose the option about what's best for me. And that doesn't mean I'm not important or I'm not like a big part of the equation of my family with Hazel. It's just us, as I have told you. It's more of when you raise a kid and you bring them into this world, and you choose to raise them, and you're like, this is not a primary parent. This should be any parent thing. You have to choose them. You have to. At least I did. Lorelai taught me that. She went without. She went later back to school. She did different things. She did a lot of different jobs to make it work. It was always about, like, she even sucked it up to talk to her parents, who she never wanted to ask for help, to give her daughter the education she wanted. How crazy is it that I'm referencing my favorite show and talking about my life? And she showed me. And by the way, so have a lot of beautiful examples, including my own dad in my life, who chose to take his kids away from a drug addict mom and demand and want more for his kids. Like, what a beautiful, gosh, I love my dad. And I've watched my stepmom take her kids out of different situations to raise her kids in the best way she knew how. And I still see that sometimes they go without so their kids can have more. And so it's not just my beautiful favorite show, Gilmore Girls. It is like that is the example I want to set. I don't get to plan a personal life. My life surrounds her. I get to make plans. I do have a co-parenting relationship where my daughter visits her dad and has, of course, a good relationship with her father. But those are not, that's not often. And I don't get to choose. And by the way, if he's unavailable, I have to accommodate. There is no other option with what he does and how he does it. Like, I don't get a choice, like, oh, sorry, I can't take her. Like, I'm Hazel's primary mom. I have to cancel hotel reservations. I have to cancel dates with friends and rearrange my schedule because I'm Hazel's mom. I have to leave relationships. I have to not really date often because, like, my priority is my daughter. I don't know exactly what my future looks like because I literally plan it day by day around her. And even with schools, what we're doing, where would Hazel do best? This summer, making plans, looking at, she went to a great forest school, looking at those options and where she thrived. It's a 40-minute drive, and I'm probably going to commit to that because she was so happy there. And I just love that she's outside. And it's a sacrifice for me. It's expensive. It's 40 minutes each way. And I'm already knowing that's probably what I'm going to pick because she's so happy there. So there's sacrifice. And if that's you, I see you. That's why I'm talking about it. I don't know if I've never. I'm sure I've given clues in podcast episodes. And I've shared with clients, especially my clients that have gone through divorce or figure out co-parenting and different things. My best advice has always been pick her, pick him, like the kids. Like, what's best for them? What is truly best for them? Being mean and awful and spiteful, probably not healthy for them. Punishing the parent because you're mad at them, even if they deserved it or not deserved it, is that best for your kid? No. Like, it's just not. Like, that's my own advice. Take it with a grain of salt. Maybe your response is like, but you don't know. You don't know this girl, Courtney. You don't know my ex-wife, my ex-husband. And I'm like, I know my ex-husband. He knows his ex-wife. Like, I have a ton of friends, unfortunately, that have gone through divorce. I have a ton of clients that have gone through divorce. And at the end of the day, what's best for your kid? We chose to bring them into this world. And that's where that 10 to 15% where it's hard. Like, I was invited to a wedding in Greece this summer. Financially, I don't know how I'm going to do it, or if and when my daughter will be with her dad, or what that looks like. So it's probably not, even though that's something I would love to do. I can plan one of my very good friends getting married. I'm in her wedding in May. That's easy. My parents or my brother or someone close to me will be watching our daughter. I can say yes to that. So there's just like different things you pick and choose that are like easy and hard. And again, I don't speak to a lot of the hard parts about being a parent, especially about being a single parent and like the sacrifice, because I so wholeheartedly love being a mom. I do think it's such a freaking privilege that I get to do this. That as much as, again, like that 10, 15, like, do wish there was some time. I wish I could plan my life. I do. But I have to make it work. And when I think about Gilmore Girls, again, like, she always just made it work. I don't know whether she asked for help from her parents, which again challenges me if I need help financially or anything when it comes to my daughter, to not be proud. Or to figure out a different way. Maybe I work longer, I bring in a babysitter, or I have to ask my co-parent for help or things, even if I don't want to, and even if the answer is no. There are things I at least ask because there's no pride with being a parent, like a single parent. And I hope that questions you out there, like, especially if you're a single mom or dad and you have majority custody and you struggle. I want you to really think about whether not asking your family for help, is that pride, ego, or is that something they really can't do, which is completely okay. Obviously, don't ask people that don't have it. I rarely ask my parents for help because they live such busy lives. My grandmother lives with them. We lost my grandfather this past year. It's 2 years now. A year? Yeah. A little over a year, sorry. And they have very demanding jobs. Like, they're not always gonna be who I ask for to watch my daughter. I have a great brother, Preston, and he and his beautiful wife, Auntie Christina, they have more flexibility. So if I want a break or an overnight, they are excited to be around Hazel and can't wait to see her. And I used to not want to ask people for that. And eventually it was kind of killing me. I was so tired. I think it was November or something. Maybe it was earlier than that. I can't remember. Sometime in the fall. No, it was before. It was over summer. I had to ask for help. My brother was so great. He's always ask. We love Hazel. And I do remember, again, going back to Gilmore Girls, she did have help. She had some good friends. She had parents, and it didn't make her weak, that character. I love that character. And it doesn't make me weak. And it certainly does not make you weak. If you are doing this almost single-handedly, you are not weak for asking for help. You're actually brave, and you're doing what's best. You can't pour from an empty cup. I'm laughing because there's a cup on my shirt. And I often use this example of as gas. You can't run off fumes and then be the best parent. And if you're constantly running off of fumes and have no breaks and have no help, then what are you pouring into your child? If I'm running off fumes, I'm tired, I'm yawning, I'm probably watching a movie versus playing. And think about if you had a few hours or even an overnight and you were well rested. What do you have? Maybe even have a half full tank of gas, or a half full cup. That's so much more you can pour into your kids. And I had such an amazing group of friends in North Carolina, and I do have them in Washington. It's just very different here. And I'm adjusting as time goes, and I'm figuring out who to ask and how to trade. North Carolina, I have two really great friends. Well, I have a lot of great friends, but my friend Liz and my friend Nicole, we would trade. I would watch Nicole's kids for a few hours. She would watch Hazel for a few hours. Fridays, Liz was off, so I was able to work, and Liz could watch Hazel in case the school was off or something. We always gave each other those breaks, and guess what? That didn't cost anything. We had 3 families. We each had a little girl. We also have there's a boy in it, the mix. Nicole has a son, and I'm obsessed with him. Where we all just kind of traded. And then we'd meet up for dinner or do something and hang out, and it was so much fun. And it was free. And we love these kids. So if you have friends and those kids you love and you're drowning, ask them. My best friend Megan here, she goes, just next time call me, drop off Hazel, even if it's just for 2 hours. And then same with my friend Marlisa here. People will do it if you ask, but they don't know how to read your minds. Very often we're not very telepathic, right? I see that in couples therapy all the time. Your partner's not telepathic. Even if I can guess what someone's thinking, I can't assume. Because what happens when you assume? You make an ass out of yourself. I will always defer to Hazel's dad or to someone else if I'm able to. Especially him, because that's her dad. If he can't do that, then I go to my next options. And my next options, for summer example, I'm always gonna be hey, what do you want? How do you want to do it? And then I go to my options, and then I figure it out. Again, there are days I cry because I just don't want to do it alone anymore. There are days where I feel like the weight of the world's on me. And then there are the other 85-90% of the days where I just think how beautifully blessed my life is and how grateful I am. Even though days are hard, and I know they're hard, and maybe you're Courtney, get the fuck away from me, or shut up, or whatever. I'm just telling you with tears in my eyes, it's hard. Right now it's hard. It's hard even doing today. I'm exhausted, and I'm showing up for you because it's so important to me to show up, to be consistent. There's only one way. I want to do life. It's to be consistent in my career and to be a consistent parent for my daughter. Like, that's important to me. I want to be reliable. And do I have a million viewers? No. But do I have people that look forward to hearing my message or my weekly posts? Of course. And there are days where it's hard. So as much as it's a beautiful gift, and maybe you watch my highlight reels, maybe you're a good friend of mine, you're like, I wouldn't even know Courtney struggled. I do. Any parent struggles. My sister is a single mom. She is a badass, brave woman, and I know she struggles. And my niece is incredible. All my nieces are incredible. And do I wish I had more help? Of course I do. But it's like part of the struggle I'm grateful for. And it's so funny to like have these like aha moments in my life, like today, where I throw on this shirt, not even thinking about it, just wanted to wear something cozy. It's super fuzzy inside, and I like, of course I want to be warm. And I brew a cup of coffee, and I log into this client that like knows my favorite show, and or maybe she just loves it too, and I just start thinking, I'm like, how funny was it that I was guided this whole time that one day I would be a single parent, that the universe or God or whatever you believe in, fill in the dots, prepared me my whole life of what's to come. And what I do think and what I'm called to do is when we get like light bulbs to purpose or light bulbs to like lead us to the direction. I didn't always know I'd be a therapist until I sat across it from a therapist. And I healed and I did the work. And then I remember even her suggesting, have you ever thought about doing this? I'm like, me, a therapist? Are you sure? And I did recall a moment when I was like 18 and wanting to do that. And I was told by a parent that they didn't see it for me. And like believing that thought. And then I was like, I don't want to do that. And I don't know if I've ever told the story. And the next week I met up with my advisors my advisor, and I had switched a couple times my major as pre-nursing and nursing. Getting to nursing school in Washington is so competitive. I mean, yeah, probably everywhere. And I remember like thinking, this is a long shot to do this, to like switch to therapy. And the advisor across from me starts laughing, and I was like, is that a no? You saying no way and how? And she's going, Courtney, you have every elective done. You maybe have 2 or 3 more courses to do, and then you can apply for your bachelor, or like you can apply for your associates and transfer and bachelor's, and you'll be done in a couple, like 2 semesters, like a year. I was like, what? I don't even think it was a year. I want to say it was like a few months. 2 semesters, something like, it was like a short period of time. She goes, every elective you have taken was psychology, anthropology, sociology. And I was like, well, I just always loved the human brain. That's kind of why I want to become a nurse. And she goes, so it makes sense why you want to become a therapist. Everything I have done led me to that. Everything. And I immediately got into a bachelor's program. I did the work, and I wasn't supposed to get into grad school, and because my writing's not that great. If I ever write a book, which I hope to do, it will be with a lot of help, most likely, or at least people spell checking me and editing and all that stuff. And I interviewed and I explained to like, hey, I'm meant to do this work. I want to work with couples. I want to do this. And I just like really explained to myself, that program let me in on probation. They created a MAC writing center that still exists to let people in like me who should be a therapist. She doesn't have the writing skills because she hadn't taken a writing class since 18. Because why would you pay for school that you don't need? And I graduated with honors. And first hired therapist out in my class. Hired on early, actually. And if I wouldn't have applied, if I didn't do that, if I didn't believe in myself, if I didn't, show up in those rooms, if I didn't listen to those light bulbs or those aha and what it led me, I wouldn't be who I am. Everything I've gone through as a childhood, watching those Gilmore Girls, watching preparation and like going through hard things, like even my biological mom and the dynamics of my family and getting married young and growing up and having issues and all the things that me and my ex went through has made me an only better therapist. So it's so easy to get stuck in the bad parts of like why life was hard or why did I have to go through that. You feel the emotion I'm saying. It's all to center around purpose. And I just think of it was always supposed to get me here to where I'm in front of you telling you my story. My story is not for nothing. My story is what makes me me. And I'm so honored to share my space with you and to even be able to talk about my favorite show. I will revisit it. And if Lauren Graham ever hears this, I love you. Alexis Bledel, love you. Every Gilmore character, I love you. You helped raise me. I'm a better mom because your show exists. And your show has taught me not only is it a beautiful story, it's a hard story, and you can have a lot of fun with it. And I bring that into being a mom. I'm sharing with my audience, you guys out there, like it is hard. What you're doing is hard. Being a parent is hard. Being a single parent is really hard. Having different dynamics with co-parenting is hard. But as long as you prioritize your kid, as long as you choose them and knowing like eventually you will have your stuff. Lorelai ended up with Luke. I'm so excited about whoever I end up with one day. And it's okay that it's not today. It's okay that I'm single. It's okay that 10% is hard. And I just want you to know you're not alone. So I thank you for joining me. I'm actually surprised I lasted this long. I'm going to try to edit this and probably rest. And then I promised my daughter cinnamon rolls and hanging out with her and cuddles. And if you have sick kiddos out there, you have my heart. And especially if you're going down too, I see you. Try to fill your cup when you can. Take a bath, a shower when you can, or just nap next to your baby, sleep next to your baby, whatever you're doing. I see you. I'm with you. And thank you again. Until next time, guys. We'll talk soon.